Good, we've got it. Okay, so we're almost at the end. My motivation to explain step 7 is very, very low because, because it's at the end. But the good thing about it is that step 0 comes next, and that's at the beginning again. So it's kind of not that bad. But as I said, it's a long old process, and there's a lot of stuff in it. So here we go. Step 7 is about implementing the solution and evaluating the success of the solution. So who cares, right? Because it's not me involved in this, it's somebody else doing the implementation. So I don't really care what happens here anyway. Now, you can't really think like that, because if you're the sales rep, then your job is to go back in step 7 and start, ideally, monitoring implementation and checking conditions of satisfaction. Yeah? I say ideally because the reality is that you go back in step 7, the customer's busy on trying to implement your project that you've sold them, and which means you're faced with troubleshooting. You have to solve all of the problems that they've been dealing with and making sure that everything is working okay. Yeah? But you know, step 7, why is it important for a sales rep? It's very important in the following context. Salespeople have an obligation. I love that word. Salespeople are obliged by their sales organizations to create reference stories. Yeah? Now, I don't think I've ever met a salesperson on the planet who has really felt inspired by the job of writing up a reference story. Yeah? And I can quite understand why. It's just like this academic exercise of saying, what did we do and why did we do it? It's just like, you know, everything's in the past and there's no future revenue that comes from writing a reference story. Yeah? Unless you're going to use it in step 0 activity, which we'll come on to next. But that is actually the important thing. Reference stories have an important function. In step 4, when the customer is evaluating their options, they need references from you so that they can put references next to references and use those references as a way of evaluating their options. Okay? In step 2 and step 1 and in step 0, we should be using reference stories for the purpose of creating curiosity and opening the door to new opportunity. So those reference stories are slightly different. Maybe they're based on the same basic story, but they'll probably look a little bit different in the way they physically look and how long they are and stuff. But basically that's the purpose of the reference story, is to get new business. Yeah? We get new business within the acquisition campaign in step 0, or into an existing client in step 2 or step 1 of the new sales process. So step 7 is part of the deal as well. Yeah? Run by implementation people, monitored and tracked by salespeople. We do have our conditions of satisfaction form, yeah, that we brought into step 1 originally, and it's possible that we'll be going back now and using this and looking for ways to get the client to express their satisfaction with what we've done for them. That would be great as well. So we've got a tool there that can help us do that. We've got a tool that can help us put together this reference story as well. Okay? Okay, and that's step 7. But before we turn off, let's go directly to step 0, because step 7 and step 0, they belong together. Yeah? So step 0 is an acquisition campaign, and the reason that we link these two so closely is that to run an acquisition campaign, you need a reference story of some kind. And it's ideal best when that reference story comes from a good, fresh, successful source of work and opportunity that you have just completed with a client. Finish.